Good morning, everyone. Let's start Unit 10, Period 6, Writing, completing information about Palestine and making notes about lawmaking in Palestine. We continue to what we did last time, in fact. Last time we were talking about the UK and how they make laws in 7 different steps. Do you remember that?
Yes, you remember.
Yes.
Okay, now, if you remember it, just think of stage number 1. What is it? In the UK.
Suggestion for new law usually from promise made during
Elections, yes. So the suggestions for the law come from the promises that the candidates made before elections. Now, what's the last stage, number 7?
That the monarch gives her or his agreement.
The monarch gives his or her agreement. Now, when it's in the UK, the monarch, is it a he or a she?
She.
A she, Queen Elizabeth, yes? How does she
Yes.
give agreement? How does she give her agreement to the law?
An assignment.
Signing her name. And it's issued, يصدر القانون. Now look back at the information about the UK and Algeria in period 1. Can you remember the information about the population, the number of people, the area, blah, blah, blah?
Yes.
It's the first page in unit number 10. Add similar information about Palestine below. What's the name of our country? The official name.
the full name is the State of Palestine.
Okay, the full name is the State of Palestine. Now, it's recognized as an independent state by an increasing number of countries, more than 140 countries, and as well as the United Nations. So, it's not still a state, بعد ما صارت دولة بالكامل مستقلة independent, but it's recognized, معترف بها كدولة مستقلة by increasing number of countries around the world and by the United Nations. Now, what's the capital city?
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. But do they live in Ramallah or Jerusalem, Abu Mazen and the government in general?
Ramallah.
And why do they live in Ramallah now?
Because it's occupied by
أستاذ بتحكي بالعربي مقر
Occupation. No, you can say that in English slowly. Jerusalem is still under occupation. Say that, please. Jerusalem
Yes.
is still under occupation.
Yes, Jerusalem is still under occupation.
Okay, now the capital city is Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the official capital, العاصمة الرسمية. But the administrative center, المركز الإداري, is Ramallah now. Now, why do you think they chose Ramallah? Yeah. Now, why did they choose to stay in Ramallah instead of any other place? Think about that.
Close to Jerusalem.
That's it. Say that again, please, George. Yes, thank you.
It's close to Jerusalem.
It's very close to Jerusalem. Now, population, approximately how many people live in Palestine and outside Palestine?
7 million.
4 million.
7 million in Palestine and outside Palestine, the refugees, almost 8 million. 8 million, almost the same number, 7 or 8 million. So population approximately 4,550,000. Now here in the West Bank and Gaza and in the 1948 lands. This only includes those living in Palestine territory, in Palestine, not those living in other countries as part of Palestinian diaspora, over 12 million in general. Now, what's the area? Geography
20.
class now. What's the area of Palestine?
27,000.
27,009 square kilometers, historical Palestine. Okay, now official language. What's the language spoken?
Arabic.
Arabic. And what's the system of government in Palestine? Is it a monarchy?
No,
No, it's republic.
It's a republic. It's a parliamentary republic. Parliamentary republic. Now, In addition, the head of state is the president, Abu Mazen, and there is also a prime minister, Shtaya. See the point?
Yes.
So is it similar to the UK or Algeria in some way?
Algeria.
Algeria.
Algeria. Now, I'd like someone to read that. George, can you read it for them? Everybody, please listen for the pronunciation.
Name Palestine. The full name is the State of Palestine. It is recognized as an independent state by an increasing number of countries, as well as the United Nations. Capital city, Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the official capital, but the administrative center is Ramallah. Population approximately 4,500,050. I don't know.
Yes.
This only include those living in the Palestine territory, not those living in other countries as part of the Palestine diaspora. Over 12 million.
Yes.
Area 27,009 kilometers.
Square kilometers. Square, مربع. Yes.
Official language, Arabic. System of government, parliamentary republic. The head of state is the president, and there is also a prime minister.
Thank you. Now screenshot that, please. صوروا الشاشة مشان تكتبوا على الكتاب. Take a screenshot before we move to the next slide. Done? Are you finished? Let's move. Now, working individually now, write notes about the lawmaking process in Palestine. How do they make law in Palestine? Stage 1. Where do you think it starts when they make laws?
In the government.
In the government. Who starts them? The laws.
Candidates.
The candidates or the prime minister and the ministers?
Yes, the prime minister.
The prime minister. So it's the ministers. Suggestions for a new law is usually introduced by the government, Council of Ministers, Majlis al-Wuzara. So is it done the same as in the UK or the other parts of the world where we talked about previously? Are they from the promises during election?
No, it's different.
No, they are different. Who makes the laws? Who suggests the laws first?
Council of Ministers.
The Council of Ministers, which means the government. إذن اقتراح القانون بيتم عن الحكومة من طريق الحكومة. Now, stage 2. Now, they suggest something. Where do they send it? Where would they send it? What do you think? Is it to the parliament or to the president? When it needs discussion and talking.
To the parliament.
Parliament. So look at it. With the support of enough members of the Legislative Council اكتبوا عليها بكل برلمان, parliament. It becomes a bill, مشروع قانون. So from the Council of Ministers, it goes down to the members of the PLC. We say PLC, Palestine Legislative Council. When it's supported by the members of the Legislative Council, it becomes a bill. تصبح مشروع قانون بعد المصادقة عليها من قبل المجلس التشريعي. Now, stage 3, what happens? Yes?
In the first reading.
The first reading, yes. Bill is discussed and members of the Legislative Council vote on the suggested amendments. Amendments, تعديلات. So, the first point, look at it here, number 1. The Council of Ministers makes suggestions for laws. They send these suggestions to the Legislative Council. بيودوا الاقتراحات المجلس التشريعي. When they are supported, the first reading is done. بيعملوا القراءة الأولى مراجعة لمشروع القانون. They discuss it, and if they agree, they vote on the suggested amendments. يعني بيناقشوا بعدلوا زي ما بدهم، زي ما بيشوفوا مناسب. Then step number 4, what happens in stage 4?
Second reading.
Second reading. So somehow here it's similar to the UK. First reading, second reading. In the second reading, members of the Legislative Council discuss and approve the new amended bill by voting on it. So let's go through that again. Now, in the first place, the suggestions are introduced by the Council of Ministers. الاقتراحات بيقدمها مجلس الوزراء. They send them to the PLC, Legislative Council. The Legislative Council would support it after voting. When they support it, it becomes a bill. The bill is first goes into first reading, discussion. When it's voted on, they can amend or change some parts or add new things. Now, in the second reading, they send it back to the بعد القراءة الأولى برجعوها على مجلس الوزراء. مجلس الوزراء, they look at it and they send it back to the PLC. بيقرأوها بيشوفوا التعديلات وبرجعوها على المجلس التشريعي. المجلس التشريعي بيعمل second reading. Now, in the second reading, members of the Legislative Council discuss and approve the new amended bill by voting on it. They discuss it again after the new amendments بعد التعديلات الجديدة من مجلس الوزراء, and they vote on the amended bill على اللي هي مشروع القانون المعدل بنسميه. إذا في قانون ومشروع قانون ومشروع قانون معدل. What's the last step then when it's discussed for the second time and voted on? Where would it go?
The president gives his or her agreement
To the president, Abu Mazen, or okay, to the head of the republic. So the president gives her agreement. Now, in Palestine gives his agreement, approved by absolute majority. لما بيصوت عليها أغلبية التشريعي, it becomes an act of parliament law. تصبح قانون بعد القراءة الثانية. And is sent to the president of national authority or the president of Palestine now for issuance. Issuance يعني للإصدار. So let's look at it very quickly. How many different stages or steps?
5 stages.
5 stages. What's number 1?
Suggestion for a new law is usually introduced by the government council of ministers.
Okay, can you say that in different words, in your own words, to show that you understand it? Everybody, look at it. I would rephrase it like this. The Council of Ministers makes suggestions for a new law. The Council of Ministers makes suggestions, and they send the suggestions to the PLC. Now, the PLC would discuss it, and it becomes a bill. When it becomes a bill, they do the first reading, they discuss it, and make amendments. After making amendments, they do the second reading. They send it back to the Legislative Council, and they discuss it, look at it, send it back for the second reading. After the second reading, they vote on it. When they vote and when they agree as a majority, لما بصوتوا المرة الثانية على المعدلة, when they vote and agree, approve it as a majority, it becomes a law or act of parliament. They send it to the president of Palestine. Now, when the president signs, SIGN, sign, يوقع the law, it's issued. يصدر القانون من اليوم الثاني بصير نافذ ويطبق في البلد. Now, Lujain, read that please for the students in the class. Please others screenshot it. صوروا الشاشة. Yes.
Suggestion for a new law is usually introduced by the government council of ministers with the support of enough members of the legislative council. It becomes a bill. First reading, bill is discussed and members of the legislative council vote on the suggested amendments. Second reading, members of the legislative council discuss and approve the new amended bill by voting on it. Approved by absolute majority, it becomes an act of parliament law and is sent to the president of the national authority for issuance.
For issuance. Okay. Now, any questions? Have you got any questions that you need to know more about, an idea here or there? If you don't have any questions, let's just compare quickly. Now, how many stages in the UK?
7.
And how many stages in Palestine?
But
5.
5.
What's the first stage in Palestine? What's the first stage in Palestine? Yes?
suggestion for a new law is usually introduced by the government council of ministers.
So the Council of Ministers makes suggestions. The Council of Ministers makes suggestions for a new law. What's the first stage in the UK? In your books.
Suggestion for a new law usually from promises made during the election.
Okay, so suggestions for a new law from the promises during election. Now, so the first two stages are different, aren't they? في فرق بين الخطوة الأولى هون والخطوة الأولى هناك. Now, the last stage here, what is it? Stage 5 in Palestine. What's the last stage? Stage 5.
Approved by absolute majority, it becomes as an act of parliament and is sent to the president of the national authority for his
Issuance.
issuance.
Okay, so the president Abu Mazen will issue the law. Sign and issue. يوقع ويصدر. Sign and issue. What's the last stage in the UK?
Monarch gives his or her agreement, and bill is now an act of parliament.
So are they different or the same?
Different.
How?
Almost the same.
Almost the same, but here a president, there a monarch. That's the point. That's the difference. الفرق بين هون وهناك. هذا president وذاك ملك أو ملكة. Okay. Now the next and last thing. Look at it here. Read the summary of the listening text from period 5, the thing that we completed last time. Use your notes from activity 2, the activity here about Palestine. Use these notes to write a paragraph about Palestine. To write a similar short paragraph about Palestine. This will be your homework. We'll just read this and the class will be over. So who would like to read? Yes? Shayma.
يلا أستاذ. First, the government suggests an idea for a new law. If the suggestion has enough support from MPs, it may become part of the government program. At this stage, it is called a bill. The bill is introduced to the House of Commons. This is followed by a second reading when the bill is discussed, then a third reading when MPs can vote on whether it should be made into law. The bill is then passed to the upper house, called the House of Lords, for more discussion. Finally, it's sent to the monarch, who gives it her or his agreement. When it has this agreement, it becomes a law.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, what's this paragraph about, in fact? Hello? What is it about?
About making laws in the UK.
About the UK, yes?
Yes.
How many stages were they?
7.
7. Now, when we write a paragraph, a similar paragraph about Palestine, will it be the same size, shorter or longer?
Shorter.
Shorter. And why is that? 5 stages.
Because
Yes? Because, say it.
they are 5, just 5.
Okay, thank you very much. That's nice. لأنه بس 5 مراحل أنه راح يكون الفقرة أصغر يعني 4-5 أسطر. They are not into 6 lines because we have just 5 stages. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready?
بدك تحطوا واجب؟
Yes, I'll do that. You write a short paragraph about Palestine. هذا عن المربع الأخضر اللي أخذتوه بالحصة اللي قبل واللي بدنا نكتب عن اللي أخذناه اليوم. Now, the end of Unit 10. That's the end of Unit 10. Save time, enjoy it. Thank you very much for today. Bye-bye.